well, I had technical difficulties. Did what I could, couldn't figure out, so we're going with backup plan. That is broadcasting live from phone. So, um, yeah, we're gonna get it started this way, I guess. Let's see how this works. So, let's get on. Let's get on. Get on. Let's look. Let's back up. I'm good considering. Have freaking crazy. You try to do something one way, and then the plans change. Hence this very bad camera angle because I'm using cell phone instead of the laptop. Where have I been? Um, Life, um, and admittedly, my own fears and insecurities about doing this well and not doing it well. That's part of it. But on the life side of things, it's been great in the sense of, married, have a kid, 11-month old, teaching that stuff. Thanks. Here, my attempt at a beard and doing new things. Um, Man, I don't even know what that. When have you ever tried rapping like that particular word? No, since I don't even know what it means. That's for sure. Hey, Marshall B, what's up? Um, cool, man. This is uh great. I was all nervous, like thinking like who's gonna be here, and we got people here, so that's cool. Um, yeah, definitely not. I'm not a magic mushroom kind of guy. Um, Shoot, man. So yeah, I mean, I have like in the event that like nobody was gonna be here, and I needed something to fill the time with. Um, I was going to talk about ways to kind of basically I have some thoughts and some ideas on like how to tell if you are progressing as an MC, um, because it's pretty hard to know if it's just um, you and yourself and you with friends who maybe aren't um, MCs themselves. They are more, they're your friends, they're your homies. They're going to support you. Um, they may shoot it to you straight in the sense of like, yes, totally, um, uh, you're totally great, because they're your friends. But they may not actually be able to give you like the in particulars of how to tell that you're progressing. So let me bring up my notes on the subject real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna set this to the side. And then, shoot, I'm gonna see what this is looking like. I'm gonna mute that though. Okay. Cool, that's much better. That way I can see comments and big screen. Let me bring up my Trello board. And let's see what we got. And let's see. Okay, so I got that. All right, so I'll talk about this real quick, and then I'll get into some some of your questions after this, and I'll go through it fairly as quickly as I can. Sometimes I can be long-winded when I'm kind of doing it live like this. It actually takes a lot of planning and prep to like make really concise short videos. So um, I'm so forgive me. Let me know if I'm going on too long on a subject here. All right, so I think of it this way. So there are essentially 5 stages if you count the beginning stage, like stage 0, which is I think where most of us start, and that is you basically you hear rap for the first time, you get an artist that you love, Um, I mean, for me back in the day, and till this day now, Common, Most Def, Black Thought. Oh my, hey, what up? Them turkeys. All right, all right. Technical difficulties, man. Good lord. But anyway, we're familiar with this stage. It reminds me, I've I think this is I actually saw him do this live. So Karos once performing, and he talks to the crowd and basically says like, how every MC basically starts in the crowd. So that's the stage zero where you're inspired to rap, and uh, super hit. Um, the let's see. So when you're starting at the beginning stage, um, it's like, yeah, you're really inspired to do it, but you really don't have any direction. And that kind of leads you into the next stage, stage one, where you end up imitating the rappers that you like. You imitate their style, you imitate their content, um, and that can get you going. But the limits there is that you don't necessarily find your voice, like your literal sound of your voice, as well as like what you want to speak about. For me, I took like this was a hard step because I was the type of person where um, I didn't the content of like early '90s rap. Um, Dope, I love it. It was great to dance to, but also it's like I'm not thug in any way. I'm not the dude that was getting all the girls in high school around this time. So it was hard for me to like write about things that I was not actually living. So I felt a little like I felt like basically I can't rap. I can make the beats though because I had music in my bones and I love the music, but I felt like rap wasn't a place for me. And that was like my stage one. But I would still try to write some things, but feeling really unconfident, unsure. Um, about that. And I think, the stage one can take many different forms in the sense of like, maybe you don't have my hangups around it. Like you're still just, you're saying whatever just to practice the craft. But you'll notice that when you go to freestyle, you're like doing the same rhymes, can't freestyle very long. Um, your writing is always about the same things, and then also it's not really connecting to like what you want to put out in the world because maybe you don't even know at that beginning stage as well. But there's a lot of doubt in the beginning stage and the stage one stage. um so I suspect most of us are somewhere between um like there might be a few people out here that are at that stage one stage watching these videos, and that's great because you're in this day and age where you can go to YouTube and find a plethora of information to get you going. I did not have that, so it was always like um, little attempts here and there to try to find my voice. And I won't go into my story too much about that. 6 times in Germany on the stage. You mean like literally on the stage, right? um, all right, next stage after that is the basically just stage two. Here, you you your skills are improving. You feel slightly more confident. Um, and let me see. I think where it kind of starts showing up is like in your writing and also in your um, it shows up in your writing and also shows up in your freestyling where um, I think at stage two, what I often hear from people is like, I can only freestyle when I like the beat. Um, the writing, again, still in the same subject matter, but just a little bit better at it, better cadence, better rhymes. Um, uh, you know, I think you can actually probably go to SoundCloud right now and hear a lot of people in this beginning stage where their flow is somewhat on beat, but it's not really landing in a way that makes you feel it. A good way to know if you're on stage one is if you can freestyle your verse a cappella to people and they can like actually nod your head to the beat of how you're speaking, then you're actually a little bit beyond stage two. But if you're kind of freestyle in a way that people are listening to you and they're nodding to like what you're saying, but they're not nodding consistently to a beat, then you're probably in that intermediate stage two phase where you can probably get a little bit tighter in your rhythm, a little bit tighter in your cadence. Um, but overall, you're fairly comfortable saying that you do have the ability to rap at stage two. And I think most of us, again, now, like even watching this right now, checking out the MC Mind videos and other videos around the internet, um, probably approach at that stage two level and then use it to try to progress to the next stage, which is just stage three. Advanced skills here. So your rhythm patterns are varied. You have multi-syllable rhyming that you're working on, probably like, 2 syllables, maybe 3 syllables. Working your way up to like rhyming like multi-syllable phrases. So that's that Eminem style, which, you give credit to Rakim at the very beginning, like trying to rhyme like whole bars with each other. That's like multiple phrase rhyming. Um, you're creating different rhyme schemes. So, I mean, at this point, like at stage three, like I think people can actually start, making songs, putting things out there at this time, and people are going to dig it. They're going to be like, "Yeah, I'm into it," and you can start a career being at level stage three, um, because whatever you're making, it sounds good, right? Um, your ability to freestyle is confident enough to where, like, if you're forgetting a verse live on stage, you can flip into a freestyle real quick and cover it up. Um, so you're writing hooks and that kind of thing. Um, all right, I'm gonna try to come back to that one too. I'm almost done. Basically, the last stage is this one. Is this stage four, which I call. I mean, this is what the whole talking about where I've been and like where we're going now and why I'm back. It's all about this stage four, which I'm calling RhymeMasters, inspired by a homie of mine who had a lyric said I was a master of a rhyme. He started with I was nine. Shout out to Chris Smallwood on that one. Um, but basically, like at the mastery level of this, high skill, high confidence. Yeah, thanks, man. High skill, high confidence, and you're really at this point where you're trying to like advance your skill in the craft. You're trying to advance the craft itself. So you're like playing with different rhyme schemes. Something that I've been playing with is like a moving rhyme scheme. So like instead of rhyming on the same beat, like let's say you have a 4 bar verse that's like, um, I'm going to give you very simple, don't judge me by this verse real quick. This is just the point. Um, so like, let's say you had like a 4 bar uh, verse, freestyle, whatever, and you're ending with their at sound, right? So dot 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 at. Every time you rhyme, you're landing on that. Like you're always landing around that fourth beat, that same beat, and you can flip that around to where you're always landing on the one, landing on the two, or landing on the three, or around there. But I've been playing with the style where like you actually try to shift it. So like maybe once you land on the four, then the next time you land on the one, the next time you land on the two, and the next time you land on the three, and it's different to the ear, of course, and it's a different effect. But at the mastery level, like that's kind of what we're trying to do is like the seeing where we can take this craft. You have a practice, meaning like you're freestyling um, every day when you can, or you're writing every day, and you're writing in a way that's just keeping your skills sharp. And I also think about the mastery level as a level where um, you work to maintain the beginner's mind to give kind of teach those coming up about the craft. So we have more rhyme masters and MCs in this world, and we don't have to be as like basically like your journey in this is always going to be more difficult than necessarily the next generation coming up if because when you're going through you don't have as much help and much resources um, if people don't come back. So if that makes any sense. So at the stage five, like you're at a place where you can actually start giving guidance and helping others along confidently, like being able to give like critical practical advice. So that's a rough kind of sketch of like how I feel like the progression of your rap skills can go. Um, and let me see. I'm gonna look at some of these questions here. So, all right. So at this point too, if you have any questions, I'll start kind of addressing those. Let me see. I'm gonna see what's already in here a little bit. So first, just really again, thank you again for joining. If you're still with us, great. And folks, artist, true study, give your songs, super rap hits. I can address that. So if you want to hear some of my like earlier music, it is available on Spotify through DLUX The Light, so Deluxe The Light. Um, you know, I I'm not. I like to think of myself as like the basketball references. We love these. Yes, I have a skill level in rap. I do not have a main, like a big super hit. Um, Excellent. Yeah, those are great questions too. And Marshall, I'll get to your question as well. But I like to think myself like I really like digging in coaching. Like this is what I do. I like helping people getting better at it. So um, I spend my time sharpening my craft and helping, you know, in this case, right now I'm helping a lot of high school students get better at their craft, and I like that process. So like I'm more of like I like being a coach. I don't necessarily, um, like here's a basketball reference, right? So you might have the people like Michael Jordan who, get the accolades and get the high results, but he had trainers, he had coaches that got him to that level, right? I like to consider myself like one of those coaches and trainers and being really excellent at that than necessarily worrying about, um, putting my own art there and making a hit because that's a whole another skill. You have to have dope skills, dope business sense to be able to um, make a hit. So that's what where I come from with that as far as my hits. But you can check out my music if you want to. Spotify, Deluxe Light is streaming, iTunes, all that. You'll see some of the stuff I made back some 10 plus years ago. And yeah. Um, all right, Marshall B, whenever you want to post it, I'll get to it. So let's see. Awkward Artist asked this question: how much time do you dedicate to the craft? Um, I would say if you're asking as far as like how much time I dedicated to the craft, um, I do. All right, here we go. Um, I'll do that. So the all right, getting back to it. Sorry, technical difficulties. Um, I like. I think doing a little bit every day is what allows your skills to progress the fastest. Um, So I developed this habit of writing at least 4 bars every day. I was doing that for about 2, 3 years. I say 4 bars because um, at my sickest, and this literally happened, I was still able to write 4 bars. It wasn't the best 4 bars, but the point is I was doing it and I was keeping my skills and my mind sharp around writing, which then greatly influenced my ability to freestyle. So um, doing a little bit every day is what I recommend. Whether it's like, if you only can give it 10 minutes a day, give it 10 minutes. If you can give it 30 minutes, 30 minutes an hour, but it's whatever you feel you can. Consistency is the best thing versus the amount quantity. um, so the more time you can give it on a consistent basis, that's how fast that you'll improve in your skill. All right, let me see. Marshall B, it's kind of big one here. As a Syrian rapper, what would be my first steps in hip hop way that I don't sound whack. I mostly rap in English. Sure, I got problems with accents sometimes. Let's see here. Even song playing on the radio network. Story called Refugee. Okay. Marshall, you know what? Here's what I'll always say is that a part of that path that I was talking about, as far as, going from the very beginning of the stages to, the Rhyme Master stage, is that it's, you know, you look back at your previous skill and you listen to your old stuff, and, it's going to sound less than great sometimes. It's going to sound whack. And you can't be afraid of it. It's just you have to, when you hear it or you notice that, that wasn't the best line, and that wasn't the best delivery. If you have the time to make the song better, make the song better. But if you don't, just make the next song better, make the next performance better, because that is how you build a confidence. But you can't build a confidence if you're afraid to be whack, if you're afraid to try, because you don't do the thing that you need to get better at, right? As far as the accent goes, man, what I really love about hip hop and rap is that it's really about empowering your voice. And I think part of the beginning stages is that when we're doing that imitating thing, we get this false assumption that, oh, in order to be good, I have to sound like so and so, so and so. And the reality is, those guys that were trying to sound like, they all had to stumble their way through their insecurities about their voice and what they're talking about. And really, they didn't gain their power until they started believing in themselves and how they sound, and what they wanted to put out into the world. So, like, the people that are going to resonate with your content, that resonate with you, you need to just put it out there. Anybody that's not gonna, mess with you because you have an accent, that's probably not the person that you need to be connecting with anyway, right? You want somebody that can actually hear your voice for what it is, hear your story for what it is, and build build with them. But don't sweat it too much about trying to sound like, anybody except who you are. I mean, that's the power of hip hop, and that's the power of rap, is really embracing who you are. So that's my 2 words on that. Thanks, kid. I think I remember you from like the very beginning. I think I've seen your name before. Um, Thanks, and it's good to be back. Let me see. What helps with finding your rap voice or writing, perform poetry, open mic, events? That I'm just reading off the page. Okay, this one I definitely got something for. So again, going with the idea that, how about finding your rap voice, right? So if you're not trying to, like, if you don't have this ideal voice in your head that's like, okay, like, ooh, I want to sound like I want to sound like J. Cole, I want to sound like Kendrick, I want to sound like, if you don't have that in your head and you're just really trying to have, like, find that voice that's like your rap voice, then the best way to get there is to, one, if you have to, it's a little bit of vocal acting, right? So start paying attention to any moment where you're speaking with emotion. So like when you're upset, how do you sound? When you're sad, how do you sound? And then start exaggerating and playing with that. Because that's where you'll start to discover the range of what your voice can communicate, without like, without just kind of your default reading voice, because we all had that experience in school where we're like reading or sharing something out loud, and we don't know to like actually put emotion and intention and emphasis into it. But when you're having a conversation with somebody and you're really getting hyped and excited, your voice goes up, it gets louder, it gets softer. You're like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. And that's how you know, and that's what you have to take into your performance. So you have to figure out those moments in your poems, those moments in your verses, and find those moments in freestyles that, oh, I'm feeling kind of goofy right now when I say this. So is my voice actually sounding like that as well? Um, so I think, let me know if that's good. I mean, I can kind of keep going on in that. Let's see. Yep. Okay, it's good to see you back, man. Let's see. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, check out the comments too. It's good information there. I'll say that too, man. Like I'm, you know, I I love the craft. I listen, and I'm very critical and I dig in and I hear. I like to try to give really practical tips. Um, but I'm definitely not the end all be all. Won't claim to be the end all be all. I learn from you just as much as you're learning from me, and you guys can learn from each other. So, part of me coming back like this is trying to do this in a way where I didn't feel like it was all on like my shoulders to try to, educate rappers out there and really try to get us more connected and building and the craft together. So. Yeah, and Marshall, you're right. So what I'm talking about is the delivery. So for that awkward artist, I hope that helps you out. And as long as you say you sound like you're reading off a page, if you're not reading off a page, that will help it too. Like memorize those verses. That'll definitely get you to a point where you can get there. Okay, I educate my people. Yes, that is dope. Man, I love to see, man. This hip hop is worldwide. It's a beautiful thing to experience. Okay, let me see if I can. There's some other questions that kind of came in, and I want to try to get to them here before we run out of time. I'll probably go a little over just because my technical difficulties and the things that happened on this side. But this question came in, and I'm going to paraphrase it horribly, but it from and I asked him how to pronounce his name too. This is from Quab. He actually sent this to me earlier this morning, and it was, if I remember correctly, yeah, it deals with this whole like, okay, you're freestyling, and then at some point during your freestyle, you go just blank, don't know what to say next, and I think he was looking for some tips around that. So let me know in the comments too if you've, one, if you freestyle, and two, if you've struggled with that, where like, like if you struggle with a limit to your freestyling, meaning like you can only go for so long or it can only do it at certain times. But so how to like not have I guess I did it talked about this in a video where freestyling, how to freestyle forever. And really what it takes, or what I've noticed, is that when you're freestyling, that is the most present you can be, the most mindful you can be, meaning like you really have to be in the present moment. And then while you're in the present moment, you're generating ideas for the next thing you're going to say. And then also having some type of like memory of like what you said before. So if there's a way to like tie things together in a way that fits, that creates really great moments in a freestyle. And so like it's kind of this very kind of like magical moment where like when you're super present, you actually kind of experience like all time, past, present, future. But that's a different conversation. So when you're freestyling and when you're present, what you have to notice is just essentially how your mind is generating the ideas. And when you're in the act of freestyling, that's not necessarily the time to like develop the new way. You want to actually practice the thinking that goes behind generating the ideas, right? So there are all these ways that we generate ideas, and I've kind of summarized them in this way with like rhymes, associations, opposites, wordplay, senses, and then the random area, which basically just gives you permission to whatever comes to mind comes to mind. And I created this tool called a flow map, and you might have seen a video of me demonstrating some of these, where it's a free association exercise where you're basically all you're doing is focusing your mind on just generating ideas. So you're not writing bars, you're not writing lyrics or anything like that. It's literally just like if I said hat, what's the first thing you think of? Hat, cat, bat, rat, mouse, house, douse, water, flame, four in height, 451. Like that's just again me just going idea, 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 idea. I'm not connecting them. I'm not making a story out of them. I'm just generating idea after idea after idea. And oh, I just thought of this now. I usually do it with writing because writing slows that process down enough for you to start to understand how your mind works. Uh, but you can also just do what I just did, where you're just like, whatever you think, you just say, you just practice saying it and saying it. Don't worry about making sense. Just another idea, another idea, another idea, another idea. And what happens as you get good at just generating these ideas quickly, when you're freestyling, when you have to start making sense out of them, like the like if I said cat hat, I realize that if I'm saying cat on the fourth beat and hat on the next fourth beat, I have all that time to kind of fill in the space to kind of make sense, right? And you can do simple things, of course, like in the beginning, it's like, oh, I saw a cat, he was wearing a hat. I didn't like that cat, so I hit him with a bat. Like you just you just put simple um, rhymes together. But as you get to the advanced levels, you start being able to fill in that space before your rhymes with your other connections, your other wordplay, your senses, the descriptive language that can actually paint the picture of the words that you're saying. So that's what that's what will take your freestyling to another level. So basically, to get past the block is always generating ideas. If you are always generating ideas and you know how to always do that, then you stop a freestyle when you want to, never because you just run out of things to say, to things to do, never because you get frustrated with repeating the same ideas over and over again. Um, so it's a simple, it's simple in the tip aspect to freestyle forever, always generate ideas. It's more difficult in developing the mindset and the practice to get there. And you know, hopefully as the relaunching continues, I want to be able to develop this to help you guys move forward in that in developing that mental mindset to help that keeps you generating ideas. All right, let me see. I'll take a few more here. Marshall B, I can write 4 bars for you. You could tell me if there's wordplay and if they're good. If you want to put them in the chat real quick, I'll take a look at them. That's fine. If they practice freestyle, I usually have to feel it because that's what it is. Relaxation, never pressure, because that's what deters a lot of people. Heard, yes, I feel like most of the time I have to work really hard to keep up with others. Any tips on how to keep your confidence in freestyle? You know, that's I always kind of say like freestyling, you get to experience the con of confidence, meaning that when you're freestyling, you never know, like, you don't know what you're going to say next, right? That is the unknown. And facing the unknown, we always will experience some degree of doubt and some degree of like um, hesitation. And yet, in order to freestyle confidently, you have to kind of just approach it with just like, all right, even though I don't know what's going to happen, it's still going to be good. It's still going to be all right because I have the skills to make whatever happens, whatever I say, work. And so keeping your confidence in it comes from, I think, practicing the skills. And the skills, not just freestyling all the time, but actually practicing the skills to make the improvements to your freestyle, to the areas myself I'm starting to doubt, like getting uninspired by that. Let me see. There's some other. Let me know if there's some other challenges that come up while you're. Um, I mean, if you're, I'm thinking of the freestyling with like in a cipher with other MCs, those kind of things. Like there's a skill in being able to um, stay focused in what you're doing versus worrying about how it's being received, right? Um, and then how to generate ideas on your own, how to get ideas from just things in the room. Like there's all these little skills that you can master that no matter what happens when you're in that freestyle moment, you will be able to. You still don't know what you're going to like say or how it's going to turn out, but you'll be confident because you have the skills to deal with whatever the moment presents to you. So um, I think keeping your confidence is really just kind of keeping your faith in your ability as you are developing your ability to get better. And as many times as I've um, freestyled, I mean, I think there's like way back and watched the channel first did just to do it. Uh, not everything I was said was like super top notch lyricism, but I think the one of the greater victories of freestyling is just being able to keep going and staying in that moment with the ups and downs that you're feeling instead of just like I don't think the ultimate goal of freestyle is to sound like a written. I think the ultimate goal of a freestyle is to stay in the moment and be able to express uh, in our craft in rhythm and rhyme what's happening in the moment uh, and in a cohesive manner. So that's what I feel like the ultimate of freestyling is. And songwriting and written verses like they have their own kind of literary purposes at that point. So I hope that helps out. Let me see. Let's see. I use too much patience. I see before patience rap kids who want dreams. Okay, so that's your 4 bars. Okay, so I used to patience for I'm used to patient kids right before the dreams they use two faces but real. Okay, I see what's going on. Yeah. Is this something you've already written or did you just write this right now, Marshall? Yeah. Okay, and you're asking me about wordplay, and I think you're attempting wordplay with before. And what I'm noticing is um, you're still using the same. Um, okay, you're still using the same meaning of the word before. So in that case, it's not an example of wordplay, at least from what I can tell and how I'm reading it. So like the say the dreams they use two faces but real bars not before. Words not before. Yeah, see that last line too. I mean, if you're talking about the idea of like be like something being four, like the number four, then you're kind of getting into some wordplay. But it's all kind of landing like you're saying. You're just talking about basically before something else, like the preposition of you know, this happened now, this happened before. Um, so wordplay, you base with the basic form of wordplay is just the using. If you use the word once with like multiple meanings, that's kind of what you get. So if you said um, like if you said said something like 2 plus 2, I told you before, right? That is kind of wordplay. Not great, but it works for that particular word because again 2 plus 2 equals 4. So if I'm saying 2 plus 2, I told you before, meaning like I'm told you that it was before. I told you that it was 4, but I'm also using the fact that it means before now, and that's an example of wordplay. So the multiple meanings of a word being used kind of in a single moment is what will get you to that wordplay. So cool. I'm glad that helped. Okay. So, man, thank you guys for hanging out and watching this. We made it happen. Um, it was it's cool. I was very excited and nervous about this first time uh, coming back, and I'm glad. I'm glad. I mean, I'm just glad I wasn't talking to myself. I'm glad people were interacting. Um, my apologies to those who might have sent in some questions that I didn't get to. Uh, yeah. So on Twitter and MC Mine, and Instagram, it's all MC Mine. You can find me that way. Um, oh, Landon Logan, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Keep yeah, just keep staying tuned. I'm gonna post something in a link where, so if you're not on the RhymeMasters waitlist, I'm gonna post that link here for you to get connected. Because the short version of why I've been away is that it takes a lot of time to actually make those videos in that way, and also takes a lot of resources to make those videos that way. And a lot of people were kind of asking for more of me, more coaching, more direct guidance. And um, it just took a while for me to wrap my head on how I'm going to do that. So I'm building a new membership site, where I'm going to try to provide you with like some weekly content, weekly prompts, to just help you again make progress along the stages of your rap skills and rap development. So it's all like in the works. So I'll post that link so you guys can get connected to that. Right now, just for being on the wait list, you'll get access to the freestyle blueprint, like the drills. You'll get an example of just kind of like all the teaching things and how I'm doing it. Um, and let's see. Yeah, basically. Yeah, a lot started coming in, and I was just like, man, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm feeling like this is going to be the way where I can really provide uh, quality guidance to you, and just to help everybody who's a part of it just progress as MCs and get your voice heard and feel confident on the stage, and or just have a way to outlet to express yourself, to you know regardless if I, quote unquote, blow up as an MC. I'm going to continue to write rhymes and freestyle because it's just who I am. It's how I make sense of the world. And if you're like that, I want to help you do it to the degree that you, um, yeah, I want to help you just do that to the degree. Like I just want to be of service. Basically, I want to contribute something to this culture that I love so much, and I feel like with my ability to teach and love of teaching and inspiring and motivating, that I feel like this is probably the best impact I can make in the hip hop community, is doing this. And if people like what I do lyrically and musically, that'll be a bonus as well. Um so yeah, I'll put that post there. Apprentice, do you have like, that's not a crazy question. I'll put the link for the wait list on there so that I can kind of get you connected to that. And getting on early is, I trust me, you'll thank yourself if you get involved early with this. I'll put a link to the Facebook group. I have a lot of likes on the page, but I'm gonna actually get it to the group to where we can promote more discussion. And yeah, man, just, and I'll plan another one of these. I don't know how soon, but I'll definitely do another one, just because it's I enjoy talking about this stuff, man. I love it. I love it. I know you guys do too. So again, thank you for being here. I'm gonna put it in the comments, and I may even put it in the description of the video. But other than that, man, just keep practicing, keep doing your thing. Keep believing in yourselves, keep the faith, and focus on the skills. Don't worry about all the frills. You'll get people heard as well. Um, Yeah, we could chop that up. Maybe my email's the same, mcmine@gmail.com. So kid, if you wanna um I want to say Valerio, but it's probably not, huh? It's probably more of a probably with a Y. So you can hit me up in my email, mcmine@gmail.com. If you have more questions, I can respond that way as well. Let's see. On the Facebook page, would you mind shared their work? I think what I want to do with that is um, create like maybe a separate discussion for people sharing their work. Because I would definitely want to prevent it from becoming super just spammy. Like there's definitely something about sharing your work to get some feedback on versus just sharing your work just to try to get more views and more likes and whatnot. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't want the group to become just a place for people trying to get more. I want the group to really be about just a collective of MCs who are really dedicated to getting better at the craft and want to help each other do it, not um, a lot of folks who are just trying to overly promote themselves. So you can do both, but as long as you're there for that reason, it's all good. So um, it'll be up soon, especially as I'm hearing from you guys what you want to be able to do. So, um, all right, I gotta get to the rest of my day. I will, like I said, I'm posting links. They'll be in the comments so you can get connected there. Um, and kid, hit me up in the email. I'll put my email in there if you guys don't have it. I think you already have it, honestly. mcmine@gmail.com. And other than that, man, thank you. It's been great. Um, and I will let you know when the next one is. So until then, adios. All right. The awkward goodbye. The awkward goodbye. How do I turn this off?